is home. Fox 23 News at 9 starts right now.
Officials at South Central Regional Medical Center say they put restrictions in place for the protection of patients, colleagues, and visitors, as Mississippi is now considered a COVID-19 red zone. Reporter Jacqueline Coleman has that story.
The decision to limit visitation at South Central Regional Medical Center comes as a number of COVID-19 positive cases increase across the state.
Because of the increased community spread and the increased number of cases and increased number of patients that are needing to be hospitalized both at South Central and throughout the state and region, we have gone back to our more restrictive visitation policies.
Patients not on isolation are allowed one visitor during visitation hours. Those hours are from 6 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Patients in isolation are not allowed any visitors unless they require a bedside caregiver.
For instance, someone who has special needs and needs a caregiver at the bedside at all times. In that situation, you can have one caregiver physically present in the room at all times, wearing a gown, a mask, and some gloves.
Dr. Mark Horn says visitors must wear a mask at all times and aren't allowed to wander the halls. He says these efforts are to slow the spread.
Trying to make it possible for patients to have the support that they need from friends and family members, and when necessary, caregivers. Of course, if it's end of life or special circumstances, just let us know. We're here to help you and to help your family.
Dr. Horn says as a whole, we can lower the number of cases by following CDC guidelines to keep everyone safe. I'm Jacqueline Coleman reporting.
U.S. officials hope to have COVID-19 vaccinations underway within 4 days of emergency use authorization. That is according to the chief operating officer of Operation Warp Speed. Currently, there are vaccine candidates from both Pfizer and Moderna that are waiting for EUAs. Also, the FDA has confirmed Pfizer's safety and efficacy ahead of a Thursday approval meeting. Approval and distribution can't come soon enough as the U.S. continues to suffer dramatic spikes in cases, hospitalizations, and deaths.
I am 100% confident that we will be able to implement this, that with our collaboration of the trifecta there, we will be successful, and we will start to have shots in arms within 96 hours of EUA. That's what I believe with all my heart.
Officials plan to distribute vaccines in the coming days to priority populations like healthcare workers and seniors. The UK is warning people with a significant history of allergic reactions to not get the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. 2 health workers who received a COVID-19 vaccine during the first day of the rollout in the UK suffered allergic reactions. That's according to the National Health Service in England. According to PA Media, both staff members reportedly had a significant history of allergic reactions and carried adrenaline auto-injectors. The CDC typically advises telling a provider if you have any severe, life-threatening allergies before taking any vaccine. Mississippi ranks last among states getting the flu shot this year. That, according to Wallet Hub. Medical professionals say during the coronavirus outbreak, this fall could mean more lives lost if you don't rely on the flu vaccine as an added layer of protection.
Anyone aged 6 months and older should definitely get a flu shot yearly, but this year more than ever due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We have to reduce the spread of all respiratory illnesses, and that includes the influenza virus.
The state ranked 46th in flu vaccination coverage rate among adults. The coronavirus pandemic taking a toll on lives and livelihoods, leading to an uncertain future. A new Bankrate.com survey says 2 in 5, or 42% of Americans, say their income has not recovered since the pandemic hit, and it's causing hardship. The survey says half of U.S. households suffered financial loss due to job loss, and the recovery could take years. Meanwhile, just 1 in 6, or 17% of U.S. households report their incomes have returned to normal. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel as Congress tries to push through a new coronavirus relief package, and the FDA is close to approving the first COVID-19 vaccine. A bipartisan rebuke to President Donald Trump by the House of Representatives. Despite a threat of a presidential veto, the House approving a spending bill by an overwhelming majority. John Lawrence reports.
The 2020 National Defense Authorization Act passes the House of Representatives by a large margin.
On this vote, the yeas are 335, the nays are 78, with 1 present. The conference report is adopted without objection. The motion reconsidered is laid on the table.
The $740 billion bill includes raises for U.S. soldiers and equipment updates.
Our men and women in uniform put their lives on the line to defend our freedom. We owe them the tools to do their job.
President Donald Trump is threatening to veto the bill because it doesn't repeal a law that protects internet companies from being liable for what's posted on their sites. It also renames military bases with Confederate names and limits the amount of money the president can move for border wall funding.
There are real grave concerns here, and the president stands by that.
Some, like Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, support the president's stance. Others hope Trump will back down from his threat.
Well, I don't think there's a bill that can't have a significant number of one of us say, I wish that provision were different. But we ought to not have our focus on the donut hole. We ought to have our focus on the donut.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Nearly every team and school has had to deal with the effects of COVID-19, from postponements to cancellations, while Hattiesburg football played its season without any pauses or interruptions. Tonight, our Zach Simon are sitting down with the team's head coach to let everyone in on their secret to a successful season.
Well, it's time to say hello and welcome in the head coach at Hattiesburg High School football team. It is Tony Vance. I want to thank you so much for taking some time with us, Coach Vance. Football season wrapped up just a few short weeks ago. You were able to make it through unscathed. Talk about being able to play a full season amidst the COVID-19 pandemic and how challenging it was.
Well, a lot of credit to our players for doing the things we asked them to do. A lot of credit to our administration for providing us the PPEs we needed to keep them safe. And our coaches did an excellent job of following those guidelines throughout the season. So hats off really to everyone that played a role.
How rewarding was it? Because a lot of schools didn't get to play football at all. Some got to play a handful of games. You guys got to play your entire season and had a shot to win a state title into the playoffs. That had to be rewarding, wasn't it?
Definitely, and that's one thing I kept telling everybody the weekend we're blessed and fortunate that we're able to play this week. As you saw, the teams canceled throughout the state or, forfeit because of COVID cases. We were able to play our entire schedule, and we were just thankful.
How difficult was it to get everybody bought in? Kids will be kids, but was it relatively easy?
It was. I think we had a great senior class that led by example and did a great job of doing things we asked them to do, and our underclassmen followed. So, again, kudos to our players and our parents for echoing our messages when they were away from us of what we need to do to stay safe.
Tony Vance at Hattiesburg High School. I want to thank you so much for the time.
Thanks.
Still ahead tonight, a critical step toward ending the pandemic, getting a coronavirus vaccine out to the public.
The goal is to find the most efficient way to deliver these vaccines as safely as possible to the largest group of people that we can.
Coming up, an inside look at one California hospital at the front of the line to receive the vaccine and its plans to administer it.
This program is brought to you by Vicks Soothing Vapors.
Good evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Kim Walker with your weather update. Of course, those conditions that brought the warmer air today will cause those temperatures to plummet down tonight. But we did enjoy a beautiful day with temperature readings around 6 degrees warmer than 24 hours ago in Bay Springs, about 9 in Waynesboro, 6 in Laurel, and about 7 degrees warmer in Hattiesburg. As we wake up tomorrow morning, you will need that sweater or even a coat if you're going to take your morning coffee outside. Temperatures will start off in the 30s, mostly clear conditions, maybe just a high cloud or two as we head into the 8 o'clock hour. But overall, it is going to be a cold start to the morning tomorrow, but with high pressure building in and with the sunshine that will be in place, we're going to be a good 5 to 10 degrees warmer than normal. Our average high right now is around 63 degrees, and we're going to do better than that for your Thursday. However, we have another storm system that is approaching, and it will put a halt to our warming trend, and it's going to really change things up for the weekend. So here's our next rainmaker, a low pressure system that develops in the Rockies. It moves toward the Great Lakes region. It will send a cold front through, and so initially we're going to be in the warm sector of the system, and so all the precipitation will be falling as rain, of course, and it will continue from Saturday into Sunday. But all this will be clearing out as drier air behind this low pressure pressure system starts to move in. As high pressure builds in, it will allow north winds to come in early next week. And so we're going to see those temperatures drop again by Monday and Tuesday. So let's take a look at our future radar and the timing of our next storm maker. We are expecting clear conditions for most of the day on Thursday. So a quiet day. But take a look at what happens on Friday. At around 6 p.m., it looks like the rain's already moving into Arkansas and northwestern Louisiana. It starts to cross the Mississippi as we head into the early morning hours. A few showers from Vicksburg all the way to Natchez, and that will start to progress to the east. So by your lunch time, we are expecting a lot of clouds across our sky. There will be some rain possibly in Smith County and Jasper County, and then this will progress to the east. A few thunderstorms could be possible, and that will bring some brief heavy rain. But overall, it looks like all this rain will be moving out, clearing out of most of us except for Waynesboro and also just down to the south in Greene County at around 6 o'clock in the evening. By Sunday, it looks like it moves out into Alabama. So for tonight, we don't have to deal with the rain just yet. Temperature's cold though. 38 degrees in Hattiesburg, around 40 degrees in Bay Springs, and then highs tomorrow. Look at this, 73 degrees in Hattiesburg and 70 in Bay Springs. We continue to see warm conditions through the weekend, but with that next system, it's going to really bring things down. Clouds and rain Saturday and Sunday, cooler air on Monday and Tuesday with highs in the 50s.
The Snack Master General has entered the building. All right, got all your favorites. Now, do you want anything to drink? As if we could afford that.
Last Man Standing, the final season, January 7th on Fox.
Nurses find hope in the COVID-19 vaccine, but they know the fight against the coronavirus is far from over. Camila Bernal gives us an inside look at one California hospital at the front of the line to receive the vaccine and their plans to administer it to the general public.
It's not easy for Patricia Tapia to suit up. She does this every time she sees a patient with COVID-19.
It's scary, but you know, we have to. I mean, somebody has to do it.
Soon, she could be adding a new form of protection against the virus, the much anticipated vaccine. And though she's worried about potential side effects, she also understands it's necessary.
I'm willing to get the vaccine.
The LA County USC Medical Center is one of the 2 hospitals in the area designated to distribute the vaccine once available. It has the freezers necessary for storage, and hospital officials are currently figuring out how they will administer it and to whom.
The goal is to find the most efficient way to deliver these vaccines as safely as possible to the largest group of people that we can.
First, it'll be frontline workers.
It feels really exciting to be one of the first to potentially get the vaccine.
Eventually, regular citizens will have access as well.
We are exploring different modes of delivery, and one of them potentially could be a drive-up model.
Drive-thrus in Southern California have been mostly successful administering COVID-19 tests and other vaccines like the flu. The hospital is considering a similar method for the COVID-19 vaccine and could serve as a model for hospitals across the country.
Everyone's going to be looking at best practices, what works the best, and I think that's where they're going to follow.
Figuring out the logistics and the process will be difficult, as well as convincing healthcare workers and everyday Americans to take it. But these nurses say they want it if it helps bring an end to this pandemic.
A lot of people are dying, so I'll agree that we should all get the vaccine.
Delayed patient care during the pandemic is a big concern for women's health doctors, according to a national survey. OBGYNs who are polled are worried about negative health consequences. Mandy Gaither has more in today's Health Minute.
Lockdowns and fear of COVID-19 may have had women thinking twice about going to their doctor.
We worry about patients missing their screening for sexually transmitted infections. We worry about patients not coming in to refill or check on birth control options, unwanted pregnancies. You know, we still are screening women for cervical cancer or HPV checks. So all those things, if delayed, can come with repercussions.
About 6 in 10 of more than 1,200 OBGYNs OBGYNs across the U.S. share the same concern, according to a survey by Kaiser Family Foundation taken between March and September. More than half of those polled have seen a decrease in patient visits since March. Atlanta OBGYN Dr. Sujatha Reddy says she's seeing more patients now than when the pandemic started and hopes it continues.
We're taking all the precautions we can. I can tell you, if we've been doing this for months and it's worked for us. We've not had COVID run through the office at all. It has not even come in as far as I'm aware. So the doctor's offices, hospitals, we're taking every precaution we can. And I think it is a very safe place to go.
An off-duty police officer in Massachusetts is being credited with saving the lives of 3 people early Tuesday morning. The sleeping family was unaware their home was on fire until that officer woke them up. Todd Kazakowicz has the story.
There's a fire, 30 Roll Road, house is fully engulfed.
North Reading Police Sergeant Thomas Encarnacio made that radio call on his drive home from work around 1 a.m. when he saw this house on fire.
There was quite a bit of smoke and flames coming up the side, so I decided to just force entry.
You advise, there are people in the house. Try to wake them up.
Other officers joined Sergeant Encarnacio. They were able to wake up 2 people who walked out on their own as firefighters arrived. But there was a third person missing, a 13-year-old boy.
We finally saw an urgency in the father. He had been disoriented pretty much the entire time, not knowing what was happening. But when he had the realization that his son was still in the house, it hit all of us, you know.
The father led police officers and firefighters to his son, and they pulled him to safety. Firefighters then quickly extinguished the flames. This is the 3rd fire in the past month in North Reading, all non-fatal.
We stress the importance of working smoke detectors in the home.
Early this morning, with smoke and flames devouring the house, Sergeant Encarnacio says he knew he had to do whatever it took to get the people to safety.
It was a surreal event. You know, you plan for this your whole career, especially those of us who've worked nights and overnights, that you may, 4 in the morning, just find a house on fire. It's happened to guys in the past, and you always wonder how you'd respond.
Google is out with its annual Year in Search list. The search giant released it today, and it features the year's top trending searches. Compiling it for 2020 was a big job, considering the massive amount of newsworthy things that have happened this year. The company says global queries, including the word why, such as why is toilet paper sold out, were searched more than any year before. No surprises at the top. Election results and coronavirus led the U.S. trending searches list. Searches for Zoom, Naya Rivera, Chadwick Boseman, and PlayStation 5 also made the top 10.
3, 2, 1, Raptor abort.
SpaceX was forced to abort a test launch Tuesday for its Starship rocket. The attempt was made at SpaceX's Boca Chica facility, and it was the first high-altitude launch attempt for Starship SN8, which is being developed to take people and cargo to the moon and beyond. But less than 2 seconds before liftoff, the rocket detected something abnormal with one or more of its engines, and it automatically shut down. Surfing large waves is one thing. Searching monster waves is quite another. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
Watch surfers tackle monstrous waves at California's legendary Mavericks Beach. Weather conditions were reportedly perfect, bringing 30 to 40-foot swells, summoning world-class riders, and as spectators gathered to watch, they ventured out to brave the massive breaks. I mean, look how far out those surfers are. I mean, like, far out in the water. And, far out, man. Some surfers played it safe, describing the waves as untouchable.
Just out of control, huge, scary, and I was doing the same thing, sitting in the channel, watching.
Mavericks Beach, south of San Francisco, has been called a premier break for big wave surfing. For years, pro surfers have come from all over to ride its monster swells. One rider said it's been years since he's seen conditions this perfect. Speaking of monsters, look at this freak. A 9-pound goldfish was pulled from a lake in South Carolina. Local wildlife officials were doing some population health testing on Greenville's Oak Grove Lake when they found this gargantuan golden specimen. They released it back into the lake, but not before sharing images online asking if anyone was missing a pet. If you are, go fish. And from freaky fishies to rad reptiles. Check out this iridescent snake that was discovered in the jungles of Vietnam. A team of American and Vietnamese scientists were researching biodiversity when they discovered the reptile, marveling at its unique scales, which shift from blue to green in the light. The undiscovered species was named as part of the rare genus Acalinus, which means, appropriately enough, odd-scaled snakes. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Brought to you by the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. The COVID pandemic hit at an interesting time for one Wisconsin man. Dick Saunders had just retired and was looking for something to help keep him busy. With everything closed, he wasn't really sure what to do. So he decided to grab some bags and pick up trash. Several times a week, Madison, Wisconsin residents can find him near a local mall cleaning up the street. He says he can usually fill 7 to 8 bags in about 4 hours. Saunders says he also picks up nails and screws from the street. He thinks that's probably helped stop more than a few flat tires. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Follow us online, like us on Facebook, and visit our website, myfox23.com.